Hello, my first graders. Today we're working on page 621 in our math book. You'll see this colorful picture on the move. So find page 621, hit play when you're ready. All right, on the move. Hey, we're going to be reading a little bit about different trains, but we're also going to be seeing different shapes as we read. Okay, so in kindergarten, you might have learned some of the basic shapes. You might have talked about a circle or a triangle, square, rectangle, rhombus. Okay, those are some basic shapes you might have talked about in kindergarten. Well, as we were looking through this story, you're going to notice that we take those shapes and we put them together to make different objects. For example, look at this mountain. What shape does that look like? Yeah, that looks like a triangle. How about these trees? Triangles too. Do you see another part of the picture that looks like a triangle? Maybe you notice this down here on the train or this on the bridge. Okay, how about a circle? Do you see circles in this picture? Maybe you notice the ones up here, right? Or on the wheels. Okay, this picture's a circle. All right, rectangles. Oh, there's a lot of rectangles. Yeah, right? This might be a kind of a long rectangle. Each of these, right? Look at those. That big yellow right on top. Yeah, and then squares. Yeah, the windows. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some of our shapes as we go through. So as we're reading through this story, I want you to think about the pictures and think about the shapes that made the pictures. The train car waits for the engine. Name some shapes you see. So look at it. Do you see some shapes in there? Yeah, circles, rectangles, squares, right? Long rectangles. Very good. The big truck travels up the road. Name some shapes you see. So look at the big truck. See how it travels up the road? Here's a real picture, right? We see real pictures. And then when they draw them, they use the shapes to draw them, right? Do you see a triangle? Do you see the triangles in here? Circles. We see some rectangles, circle wheels. The ship loads at the dock. Name some shapes you see. Again, do you see, right? Rectangles in there, maybe even the triangle. Look at that triangle shape. Triangles in there. Yeah, lots of different shapes in there. These trucks drive across town. Name some shapes you see. Look at what's in there. Looks like little circles, right? A lot of circle wheels. Even the lines in the road, you could say rectangles. The airplane arrives at the airport. Name some shapes you see. Right? You see the squares and the rectangles. See any triangles in there? I'm not spotting. Oh, that looks like a triangle wing. Almost missed that. Right? Lots of different rectangles, circle wheel, circle on his shirt. Okay, even your eyeballs a circle. Okay, so there's a lot of different shapes. So when we do our drawings, a lot of times we use the shapes to draw our pictures. We call these shapes that we're seeing flat shapes. Okay, that means we only see one side of them. They're very flat. So we're going to skip over this and we're going to look at our introduction. We're going to talk about three-dimensional geometry, which means we're going to look at three-dimensional shapes. That means shapes that aren't flat like pictures, where you can tell that they might have some roundness to them sometimes, or more than one side, like the sandcastle. Okay? Look at the sandcastle. This looks like, right? It doesn't look like a flat shape like a triangle. We can kind of see that it curves around. So we would call that a cone. And then we look and we see, oh, looks like they took some squares, right, and put them together. Well, that would be a cube because you can see the other side of it. So we're going to take a look at some three-dimensional shapes today. Alike and different. Circle the objects that are alike. So look at these three blue objects. Do you see two that are like each other? Yeah, these two. This one looks different from all the other ones, right? It looks like it's curved. These look like they have squares on them. So we would circle these two because they look alike. Now look at the green objects. Do you see ones that look alike? That means, do they look kind of the same? Yeah, this one and this one. This one looks very different, doesn't it? These both come to a point. They both are round on the one end. Identify three-dimensional shapes. Color the spheres blue, color the cylinders red, and color the cubes yellow. Right, so we're gonna need some crayons for this. You're gonna need a blue, a red, and a yellow. So you're gonna pause, see if you can go find a blue, a red, and a yellow. And if you don't have those exact colors, find something similar. Hit play when you have your three colors. All right, here's my three colors. All right, so look at this look at this sphere. See how it looks round? Which one of these looks round like this sphere? It looks like that. Yeah, the basketball. So we want to color this blue because it says color the sphere blue. So we're going to do a quick shade. It doesn't have to be perfect. Color the cylinder red. So look at which one is a cylinder. What one has that shape? It looks round at the top, sides that go down. The can of soup. We're going to color that red. Color the square, not square, sorry, the cube yellow. So which one's the cube? This one looks like an ice cube, doesn't it? That's where it got its name. Cube. Right. All right, we're good with our crayons now. It says mark an X on the object that does not belong. So take a good look at these. Do you see one that doesn't belong? Might be tricky at first. Do you see ones that look the same? Right? Do you see these two look the same? Is there another one that looks just like that? Yeah, that one. So if this one, and this one look the same, this one does not belong. Why does that not belong? What's different about it? Yeah, it's big, right? The other ones were small. All right, my first graders, we're gonna take a look at our shapes first before we go further into our book. So I want to review what these shapes are. Some of you might have had it in kindergarten, some of you might not have. So let's go over the name of these shapes, what they look like, so that when we're talking about them in our book, we'll be able to identify them. So we do have the vocabulary cards, and I'll show you them that go over some of the names of the shapes, because we want to get to know what the shapes' names are so it's easier for us as we're going through. So let's start off with one that I think a lot of you would know, okay? Take a look at this one. See? What do you notice on all of the sides of this shape? What are you seeing? What does this face look like? We call these faces. Yeah, it has a square. No matter how I turn it, you still see a square. We call this shape a cube. It's a 3D shape, okay? Here is its name. Cube, okay? Here's our shape, cube, and it's because all the sides have squares on them. No matter how we turn it, there's a square. They're all flat, okay? There's no curves on it. Think about an ice cube, right? That's where it got its name, an ice cube. Looks like a square. So that is our cube. I'll leave that here so you can see that. Cube. Okay. Here is another one that might be familiar to you. Now, when I hold it like this, it might not be so familiar. Think about if I turn it like this and it's upside down. What does it remind you of? A cone, right? Like an ice cream cone. So this is a cone. You see it upside down sometimes, but it also goes this way. When we have ice cream in it, we hold it upside down. This is a cone. It usually comes to a point at the top. It's rounded. Think about like your ice cream cone. It's rounded on all the sides, and then the one side is flat. That's usually where we put the ice cream in. Okay, cone. Here's the word cone. Oh, and most of we know the E makes the O say its name, cone. Okay, and that's what it looks like. Has the flat side, that's the flat side underneath, and the rest of it is rounded, and it comes to a point. Cone. So think of ice cream cone. All right. Now, here's ones that we might not know. Okay, this one right here. Now, I bet you know what shape this is that you're seeing on the edge. Rectangle, right? Looks like a rectangle. But when I hold it like this, what do you see? A square. So this shape, right? Look, there's a lot of rectangles. Okay, square on either end. No matter how I turn it though, on this way, you see a rectangle. We call this a rectangular prism. Think about the word rectangle, right? Rectangular prism. So rectangular has the word rectangle in it. Rectangular prism. Now, a rectangular prism can have a rectangle on every single side without having a square on it. Think of like your tissue box, right? Some of us have those, the long tissue boxes. They might not have a square on either side. Or your cereal box. Think about your cereal box. They are rectangular prisms. Okay, it's where on every side it's a rectangle. It is okay to have a square though on one side. It is okay. So we call them rectangular prisms. Okay, and here's our rectangular prism. Okay, so we have our square, right? Oh, I'm sorry, not square, square on either side, but it's a cube. We have a cone, right? And now we have our rectangular prism. Okay, think about the difference between the rectangular prism and the cube is that this one has sides that have rectangles on it, where the cube does not. All right, now here's a few that are a little bit more challenging. Okay. This one is called, looks like a ball, doesn't it? Right? All of our balls have this shape. We call this a sphere. Okay, now sphere is hard to say. Think about the word fear, like I'm afraid of something, and add an S sound to the beginning. So we have fear, and then for this word, sphere, sphere, okay? Has the S in the beginning, sphere, okay? Sphere is like a ball, completely round, okay? A ball is a sphere. It's completely round, it rolls, there's no flat sides on it. So we can't say that we see a circle on it. There is no circle, it's completely round. If I go to trace this, I really can't. It would be hard because it's gonna wanna just roll right off of my page. It doesn't have any circles on it like the cone does. There's no sides at all. It's completely round. We call that a sphere. Now check out the word sphere. Sphere, you see, you're like, wow, where's the F? Remember that PH makes the F sound. So sphere, okay? Oh, look, some of you know that word here, right? Sphere, sphere, okay? This is a sphere. Oh, and I'm gonna put that there, but guess what? It's gonna roll right off my table. I have to put it in my lap. All right. All right, this is a cylinder, okay? Cylinder. Kind of looks like a can, right? Could be like a can of soda, right? Can of soda or a soup can, right? We pour the soup out. Okay, that's where we get our can shape from. It's a cylinder. A cylinder is round on either side, but it always has a flat circle bottom and flat circle top. okay? Cylinder. We could hold it like this if we want, and roll around. There's nothing to trace on this side, but there's always a circle. It looks like a can. Again, we call it a cylinder. Here's the word cylinder. Cylinder has that soft C at the beginning, right? And why sometimes cylinder doesn't look exactly how we would think. Cylinder, okay? Cylinder. All right, the last one, I do not have a shape for. It didn't come in my shape box. Okay? But sometimes we'll see this one. This is a pyramid. Let me hold this a little close for you so you can see it a little better. Pyramid. And most of you know what a pyramid is, right? It comes to the point. What's that shape that we see going around it? Triangle, right? So pyramids, they have triangles on either side of it. And then sometimes at the bottom, sometimes depending on how many sides a pyramid has, because pyramids can be have many different number of sides. Sometimes it has maybe a square at the bottom. Sometimes it has a triangle, but there's nothing round on it. There's not a single thing that is round, no circle faces at all. Okay, they're always flat. Pyramid. And pyramid, how we know, has triangles on its sides, on most sides. All right, so those are our shapes. We have our pyramid, sphere, rectangular prism, cylinder, cone, cube. That's what we're going to be talking about in this chapter. We're going to take a closer look at those 3D shapes. All right, now that we've gone over the name of the shapes, let's look at them on our paper and see if we can identify them. So here we have this shape, remember, round all the way? That is our sphere. Take a look at this one. Do you remember? Think about, what if we turned it upside down? What did that look like? Grab it out again. What did that look like? It was our cone. So here's our word cone. We're going to write it on the line. If you need to pause, you can. So we use cone, sphere. All right, look at this one. Look, what shape do you see on its face? It has the square. Think about, what shape has all those squares on it? Is it a cube or a cylinder? Yeah, it's a cube. Think of like ice cube. Okay, so here's my word cube. You need to pause for each one. Go ahead. And then our last one, remember, like a can, has the circle. Look at the circle shape on the top. Round on the side, circle shape on the bottom. Our last word, cylinder. What word is that? Cylinder. Good. You want to say it so that you remember it. Cylinder. Okay, if you need to pause to finish writing, you can. If not, I'm going to keep going. Right. We're going to need our crayons again. We need a blue, a green, and it looks like an orange. So do the best you can. See if you can find those colors. If you need to pause to get those colors, you can. If not, I'm going to just keep going. Pause if you need to. All right. Look at this it says color the sphere blue. So think, remember that sphere? It's here. Remember our sphere? Woo! Which one? Do you see it? Yes, this one right here in the middle. We're going to color that blue. That's our sphere. It looks like a ball, right? Okay. Color the cube orange. Think about our cube up here. Which one looks like that? Yes, we're going to color that orange. The lines that you see like this is just to show you that it's a 3D shape, that it has more than one side. That way you can always see the different shapes that are being made. And our last one, color the cylinder green. Do you see the cylinder? Made it green. All right, there we get it. Here it is, round on the top, right? Circles on the top, round on the sides. It's our cylinder. Looks just like this. All right, if you need to pause to finish coloring, go ahead. If not, I'm gonna keep going. Right. So here is our vocabulary words, okay? Things that we're going to be working on. Here's our shapes. So if you want to practice these so that you get used to the names of the shape, you cut on these dotted lines, okay? It tells you what they are on the other side, so you can practice to see what they are. So this one right here, this is our cone. And I'm gonna just write the word so you see it, cone. Okay, then we have, right down here, we'll go over the names of the shapes. Sphere, right, sphere. You don't need to write it on this side because it's on the other side. Okay, remember this one? Cube. We can read that word. Look, the E makes the U say saying cube, cube. Right. We have this one, right? Do you remember that one? That one is a cylinder. Right, and the last one with the rectangles on it, right? Do you remember that? Rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. Big word. But it has that word rectangle, right? Like rectangle, rectangular prism. Right. The other ones that we are going to look at is bar graph, which we're familiar with, right? We learned that in the last chapter, bar graph. Then this says some three-dimensional shapes have a curved surface. Curved means that it goes around. This is a curved surface. It's not flat. That means it can roll because it has this curve to it. Same thing, we have the cylinder. Here's our cone. See the curved surface? It can roll. Okay, and our last one is our sphere, right? And that's all curved because it all the way rolls. So remember, flat is like this at the top. That's flat. But curved is the part that rolls. Some three-dimensional shapes have only flat surfaces. So remember, flat surface, right, is like this part at the top. Flat means you can rub your hand on it. If I put it on a flat surface, right, it stays put. If I put this down, it stays put. Same thing with like our cube, right? It's not gonna roll anywhere when I put it because it has a flat surface. Okay, flat. All right, so those are our vocabulary words. Make sure you practice the name of your shape. You don't need to spell it, but I want you to be able to identify what one belongs, what is the name of each shape.